We're going to be talking about discussions. I think the value in discussions is that we are facilitating learning. They're learning independently from each other, oral literacy, and that it does progress hugely. It's just a case of showing that. So general tips, I think you do need a start and an end point so you know where you're going. You can't just say discuss and let them go. It does need to be planned and structured so that it does build. Ensure that pupils participate. Yes, some pupils aren't as confident verbally, but they can be doing thumbs up, thumbs down as other pupils are verbalising to show that they are still participating. Making sure you're teaching skills and not necessarily content. Ask questions of the pupils as well instead of just giving them answers, because that's going to help their learning. And praise the process, not the outcome, because that's going to help their overall resilience as well as their learning. It does meet the SMFC, so this is straight from Ofsted. So this would be really good to be doing in PD as well. So spiritual is something that you can meet. It's not necessarily to do with God. It's interest, respect, fascination, imagination. Moral is right and wrong consequences. Again, a lot of the PD activities do actually meet these. Social, it's cooperation, resolving conflicts. Willingness to participate, interest in exploring. So again, these are the sorts of skills that we're trying to encourage through discussions. So the pupils do need to know why discussions are valuable. It does need to be emphasised that it's not a lesson off or a treat just because there's no writing. It is very valuable for their learning. So it's important that people have different ideas. Pupils need to build on other ideas, not just offer their own opinion. And making sure that you do level their responses. So my pupils will show on their fingers what level it is, and they will build up as a group to make sure they are improving. And they also then know when it's been successful and how they can improve. And really emphasising the literacy links so they know they can build on that. And allowing pupils to vote for the best philosopher, because then they realise it's not necessarily the person that said the most, it's the type of thinking that's valuable. So I use HOTTIES in the class, which is higher order thinkers, to really show what higher order thinking is. And emphasising that asking questions is just as valuable as providing answers. And I've got lead learner lanyards for this, and the class vote on who is that lead learner. Which is really nice peer praise as well. So one way to show progress, so we've put the question up on the board. This was just one I did this week. And this can be a really good way to involve shyer members of the group who won't necessarily speak, or people that really like the limelight. But it shows that all the connections they've made, so you can really see the progress, and learners can track the thought process and make those connections as well. There's various tools I've got. So I've got the lead learner lanyards. I'll put up the hot questions so they can see what sort of things are. I've got Dave's posters, which we use, the kids talk about, and the Kipling's questions from Dave as well. And they're on all the tubs, so all the children can use them. We've also got them up on the board so they can get them. And Phil made the poster, what skills make you a hottie? So we do talk about what it means to be a higher order thinker. So dice to help them formulate questions just can make it a little bit more fun, and they can, instead of even just asking questions, talk about what kind of level answer that question would produce. Hot seating from James. So this will encourage them to think creatively when they're being questioned, and analytically when they're being asked questions. Also good for emotional intelligence, that one. Corners can be quite a good one. So they would stand in the corner of the question that they agreed with, talk to their group about why that's their opinion, and then argue. You could differentiate by putting the higher levels in groups they don't agree with to challenge them a little bit more. They have to justify their position. Conscience corridor is a really nice one. So people would form two lines, one arguing for, one arguing against, and teacher would walk down the middle and listen to the arguments, walk back, listen to the other arguments, and then say where they've come to the conclusion. So you've actually verbally written an essay. And you can differentiate by putting higher levels towards the end, so that actually they're being pushed and challenged a little bit more than the others. Balloon debates, so separate pupils into characters, and each one needs to argue why their character should be able to stay in the balloon, and they also need to argue why others can be thrown out, so they're getting that evaluation and skills of argument. My favourite is philosophy for children, so there's no one right answer, but there are clear success criteria for it. I find it's ideal at the start of the unit to make the complexities really clear, or right at the end to bring different ideas together and stretch and challenge each other before they do their written work. And really emphasise that they're verbally working at a high level, and that's what they need to transfer into their written work. So it works by presenting the stimulus, more provocative or ambiguous the better. Pupils would individually ask a question about this. They would share it as a group and refine down to one question, and then the class would decide on one of those, and that's what they would use as discussion. So that was the picture that I showed you earlier. And they would say why they found it interesting, and pupils would choose the next learner. So it's very, very independent, that one. That's the success criteria. And this is the Socratic questioning, which you looked at before. But I've got that up on the board, and the pupils are actually using this language as well. So they're saying in discussions, I would like to challenge your assumption. They're using those sorts of things. So just come and see us in BBL department, and have some observations, ask us some more questions with a bit more time, a bit more detail.